But let's go on to this one. We got Oregon governor to sign bill recriminalizing drug use because they decriminalized it a few years ago. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek on Friday vowed to sign into law a bill that recriminalizing drug use more than 3 years after voters approved the most liberal drug law in the country, one that decriminalized the possession of small amounts of drugs. She said, I intend to sign House Bill 4002 and the related prevention and treatment investments within the next 30 days, Kotek, a Democrat, said in a statement. The reversal, which can impose a misdemeanor sentence of 180 days for drug possession, has an acknowledgement that measures 110 approved by voters in November 2020 failed in its approach to treat addiction as a public health matter, not a crime.
So this means by them recriminalizing it, that this state should be leading by example,
right?
By having additional facilities,
but they didn't do that,
for drug users to come in and get their drugs.
But they didn't do
properly.
That. They didn't do that.
They
didn't do a good job. They didn't do a good job of placing these building these places
facilities
that were needed. They didn't do
that
a
were
good
needed.
job. They didn't just do a good job.
So now they have to go back and say, "Oh, my bad. We funked up."
Criminalize it again and throw people back in.
Go. That's how you make the money, y'all. You get jail these for-profit prisons.
Right. So it's tough, bro.
And then pay them like pennies on a dollar just for them to work.
We talk about
for their job.
We got free
programs.
work, y'all.
We talk about drugs as a health issue, but we still want to treat it as a criminal issue.
Right.
I don't, me myself, man.
Great point.
I think that we can't ignore that it's a health problem.
It is.
I know we did it in a terrible job in the 90s when it came to crack. We didn't do nothing but throw everybody in jail that was black. And
but that was the government fault because they gave us to us.
Dude, I talk about that all the time back in the day.
But the government didn't make us do it.
People, you gotta to living in those neighborhoods back in the day. It was terrible. And Ronald Reagan, they the ones that put the crack in the neighborhoods. But Bill Clinton is the one who put the astronomical sentences on people.
Yep.
So it's not, you can always say parties this, party that. It's messed up all the way around.
All the way around.
So they didn't do a good job.
But we also asked for it too as a people.
Yeah, we did.
Why?
Because our neighborhoods, our neighborhoods were terrible.
Our neighborhoods.
How do we?
So our leaders were asking for stronger sentences for people who are doing these crimes in the neighborhood. So I mean, it was
and our people, Bill Clinton, went out and voted.
Bill Clinton listened to them,
right?
And that was wrong. They shouldn't have put stronger sentences. They should have put more health care. They should have put more health advisories.
More mental health care.
More things, right?
More drug assistance programs or facilities that are like your methadone clinics. Right. They should have gave you more of those. They should have put more resources into research.
They know that now. And they're trying to do this, the what is this? What do they call this? What is it? The drug that they're doing, heroin, methamphetamine, fentanyl. They're trying to treat this opioids. They're trying to treat this a little different than they did the 80s crack.
And 90s, right?
So they're putting in things to try to help the person. They're trying to not just put everybody in jail for these situations. I mean, I'm not going to say it's all about race, but I am going to say that it's better this way. And they may have took a little while, and we might have got bent over for it. Because I know many of people that went to jail for crack.
I do too.
And had to spend 30 years in jail.
I do too.
So I mean,
and I can almost guarantee that everybody knows somebody.
Not everybody, but most black people do. That
have
to pay the price for the crack epidemic,
or they know someone that may be a friend or a family member that have been.
Mm-hmm. But this is worse, man.
It is.
Because the overdoses are terrible. Crack didn't see that. Crack saw more of the gang violence of people fighting over the territories. to sell the product.
Right.
Right now,
yeah, the deaths
it's
you
the
see
people using the product.
Right, the deaths you see with fentanyl is crazy, especially compared to crack. I mean,
Exactly.
these crackheads are dying from the fentanyl. That is impossible. We thought crackheads were invincible up until a certain point. They could run through walls.
Right now, we got Oregon's drug overdose death, which has increased by a third from 2019 to 2020, rose another 44% in 2021.
You know, it's a complex issue because, you know, it is the health thing. It is, we have to learn, you know, how to best balance this, because there are some criminal people involved, but there are some people that are just mentally unhealthy.
Correct.
And need to not do that so often and be reliant and all this kind of different stuff. But, you know, I think as a society, we have to always look at what the most optimal future would be, right? And start talking in our language to be from there and look back, right? Because obviously in the moment we have to build. Right. We have to build the infrastructure. We have to build the game plan. And then, you know, there's going to be the times where we learn as we go as well.
But we also shouldn't have gotten rid of those types of facilities.
The mental
health facilities.
They got rid of them?
We shouldn't have gotten rid of them. I mean, I understand that they were closed. I understand the reason why they closed them, and understand because we weren't taking care of people
wasn't doing
properly.
a good job.
We weren't.
They were throwing people on top of people.
Throwing people on top of people. Right. That is understandable. However, to just altogether just get rid of them, that was wrong.
A mistake.
That was a mistake.
It was.
They should have improved. They should have gave more funding. They should have figured out, how can we improve this part of the industry?
What it needed was an outside entity that came into the
and
places
audited
and made sure that these facilities were keeping it up.
It's just like when you go to your regular doctor's office. Your doctor's office has an independent facility or independent contractor that comes in and audits the office to make sure that all of their claims are being submitted correctly and the doctor is being paid.
This brings us to a bigger issue then. Do you think America cares about your health?
No.
So what makes you think they don't care about the people that are...
Because of the amount that we pay for health care, we don't care for ourselves.
Well, watch this. But if we don't really care about our citizens' health, and then we have these people that are actually mentally unhealthy, they're going to get the bottom of the barrel if they don't care.
Yeah. Exactly. Because look at it. Like we were talking about earlier this morning. Like I made a statement that we have all these mass shootings. Right. And we have all these excuses, and majority of the excuses that when you see a mass shooting occur, it's, oh, he had mental issues. He had mental health issues. It's always going back to that person had a mental health issue, right?
100%.
So why aren't we placing more funding to mental health?
That should just a scapegoat. Great question. It's a scapegoat.
Why aren't we placing?
It's a great question.
More rules and regulations around.
It's a scapegoat.
Exactly.
They don't really
want to put the funding towards healthcare.
No,
they don't want to put the funding towards
we got a lot of money going out. We got to send hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. Hey, we got other priorities besides our American safety.
Let me ask you this. Do you think
we got other priorities right now? What y'all talking about? Infrastructure in America?
Right.
Why?
But do you think Canada is paying?
Canada pays more tax to have a little bit different to have a different medical system. And you know,
why
America
we can't have that same tax system?
Yeah, great question. We don't want to be taxed. Taxation is another issue we can get at a different time.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I would rather have.
Well, watch this. I'll tell you this. Watch
my taxes come out for my health care.
I know you.
Than me pay out of pocket for it.
Watch this. That's fine, and that's fine. Watch, but how are they doing with the tax dollars right now? Right. You act like if we were to give them more and be like, this is what it's for, that they would actually do that and be good.
They wouldn't.
This was an ideal. This is an ideal, though.
Some people don't care about healthcare at all. Right. Because to them, it's a privilege, not a right.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think it's a right.
It is a right.
I think so, too.
It is
not
we
live in the 21st century. We can make it a right.
Healthcare is a right.
It should be.
Not a privilege.
Correct.
Because there's no way in God's know what.
But you guys are missing one thing, though.
We should be paying more for healthcare than any other country that's not a first world country.
It's not the government's fault that healthcare is privately ran. We, the people, have decided that. We want it to be a private entity. We want to make money off of it.
Good point.
And that is the reason why it is the way it is.
Yeah.
Other people realize that this is something that should not be ran by private entities.
Right.
This should not be something that somebody could be selfishly saying, hey, I need more money for my business.
So I'm going to raise this up and the price of insulin go crazy.
Exactly. And we have these people who they're private enterprises.
Exactly. And that's why we have people who are, coming out more and more who are advocating
everything can be capitalism.
So this is
or advocating for transparency and pricing for healthcare.
And I'm not sure if this is in Europe, but there's definitely a big place where I think it's Europe.
Mm-hmm.
You guys could double check it. So in America, the doctors get paid when you're sick.
Right.
There, they get paid when you're not sick.
Right.
As you should. That's your job. That's your job. No, imagine that. Imagine that.
Because the doctor is trying to figure out how to prevent you from having this illness.
Right.
American doctors are trying to band-aid your illness.
Yeah, but how can they make money if you don't come back?
Prescriptions.
You know, that's
hey, we talking about prescriptions. That's the best one. Hey, let me tell you who got the best one.
That's where doctors makes the most money.
Yeah. Yeah, and they could be like, you know what? There's this new ivermectin, nistamestin.
Oh, we got the perfect example for you, bro.
Okay, yeah, no, give me some real words.
Wegovy.
Yeah. People going to
the weight loss drug.
Right, saying they need it.
It is not a weight loss drug.
Yes.
But it is. Most people are taking it as a weight loss drug because it is helping them lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
But Wegovy is not a weight loss drug. It is supposed to be a drug to help you with like diabetes and things like that.
Right.
But when they give you a diabetic drug, one of the side effects is may lose weight.
Right.
So people are hanging on to those very small, that small fine print. May lose weight.
Okay.
It's saying, Doc, I need this medicine to help me lose weight.
But that's the problem. That's
wow.
That's what happens when you put these medicines on commercials. And
we're commercializing our
I believe we are one of the only countries to do that.
We're the only country that commercializes our
why
medication.
Is that? Hey, ask the question. Hey,
capitalism.
Put it in the chat. Why is that?
Capitalism. We making money, gotta make money. Money is first. Business is first in America.
So so the interesting thing is, why is our health system, if you were to ask yourself, what do they care more about, the people's health or money? What's the answer?
Money.
That's not the answer we want, ladies and gentlemen. hey, that should not be of course the money. Oh, really? Yeah, I guess there would be no profit in us actually getting healthy. You know, and why do we have things set up this way? Again, it was all set up for a purpose and a reason. But I believe it's also for a season. We're moving out of that though. So now we're having these conversations. This wasn't happening back in the 80s. Let me ask you this.
If you lived across the street from, for example, St. John's. St. John's charged $350 just for you to go get an MRI on your broken knee.
But you don't even know that though.
Hold on, wait. St. John, some hospitals like St. John's may post their pricing online.
Exactly.
Okay. So you can go to their website and say, I need an MRI, I need it on my knee, and I need it on my left knee.
Kind of see what you're gonna play.
So you can kind of see an estimate of what you're going to pay.
But most hospitals don't do that.
But if you go over here to Barnes Jewish, Barnes Jewish, they're not gonna. They're gonna have a thing that tell you to call them to ask for their pricing. And you call some Barnes Jewish, and Barnes Jewish say, "Oh, our pricing for that MRI on your left knee is not $350, but it's $150. Which hospital you going to?
Oh, we got to knock it out there,
definitely. But
that's
the reason why they don't have transparency on pricing, because they don't. And
that's the reason why hospitals are getting in trouble more and more these days, because they're not posting their transparency, which they should be, according to the 2010 law that Obama placed in that said hospitals and doctors' offices must show transparency.
And that was that's because they wanted them to come to the digital age. And they wanted them to be able
everything
to come
electronically.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and it's funny that you bring this up. I think this kind of piggybacks into all the stuff that we've been saying. Just because you put laws and regulations in fact doesn't mean that people are going to follow it. That's why when you say, okay, we'll just do this and then that will happen, that's not necessarily always the case. And there's always going to be someone trying to get up over it, because
there's always going to be that small little bit.
There was something in California where, again, we don't get to see all these documents. I remember, this is just for the example, Trump had to get like this 5,000 page document and get it read. All the Republicans had to get it read by like Sunday, and it was like Thursday. It's like no one's ever read 5,000 pages in their life, and you're talking about reading it over a weekend. Come on now, y'all. But that's the things that are factored in. So there was a new law that came out in California apparently that, like, if you So certain places need to up their minimum wage, but you didn't need to do that if it was like if your place included a bakery. Fast food chains didn't need. So it's like very specific. It's very specific. It's all like, well, bakery.
Panera Bread.
So Panera Bread gets out of that.
They get out of that,
and that was his homie. Hey, we get to the bottom of things, y'all.
That was his homie. He went to school with him,
and that's how it is. And that's how stuff we don't see. We got to see that somehow, right? But usually in these 5,000-page documents, we don't get to see all the stuff going to. It's like, what do we need? What are we sending this 300?
But they get the reason why Panera Bread gets out of it is because
problem. Cronyism is a big problem in the government.
It is.
Explain cronyism.
It's just helping out your boys.
You
want to say
nepotism,
right?
Right.
It's just a good way to help your homies and make sure that they don't get taxed and they don't get hurt.
Yeah, and to be honest, we all can agree that's dope. And that's dope. It's just unfortunate that many of the systems that we create actually
so now do you think that a lot of the business
messed up stuff too? It's all like,
do you think that now a lot of the business models in California will be like, oh, well, I don't have to pay this much if
we about to get a bakery, y'all. Hey, how much a bakery cost? I'm about to put one. It's only $20K.
They finna be like, I'm finna learn how to make some sourdough, some rye bread.
Hey, bread is on the rise.
Wheat bread.
You're gonna do what you do. But the problem is
Panera
that
Bread sell their bread for like $6 a loaf.
They have to. We were just reading shit the other day, and they got to switch everything up because they're not doing very well.
No, they're not doing very well.
Panera Bread, they're doing horrible.
Oh, really? That's very interesting. Then that they're not doing good, and then they also in combination they get hooked up.
This is why they need it because they're doing horrible.
Horrible. They had to go back and rechange their whole menu because at first, over the last 2 years, they've been trying to do more upscale, a more upscale menu to get better ingredients, better customers, things like that.
People don't care about that, man.
They don't. They're caring about the prices and how much you're charging me for a meal.
Back in the day when it was St. Louis Bread Company, when they had a product, it was great. They didn't have many sandwiches on the list, but the sandwiches was really good.
The problem now, smaller menu.
They've tried to make the menu too big, and they're bad at making those things quality. So companies, they do this, and then they have to
scale it back and be like, oh, my bad, y'all. We saw McDonald's did it too.
You have any more stories?